Welcome to MyCare channel. I'm Emily Anderson and today is Monday the 6th of December. Last week I had the chance to sit down with art therapist Colleen Nicholas. We had a chat about what art therapy is, who it's for and how it can help you. Let's check it out. Hello and welcome to MyCare. Today we have Colleen Nicholas in the studio and we'll be having a chat about art therapy because Colleen is a registered counsellor and art therapist. Colleen, it's so good to have you here today. Thank you for being with us. I'd love to hear what got you into art therapy.
So I've been a counsellor for about 12, 13 years. A few years ago I just wanted to develop my skills further and I saw an introduction to art therapy advertised and it was a 2-day course. So I thought that'll give me an idea of whether this is what I want to do or not. And during that 2 days I was blown away by what I learnt about myself, about how art therapy is so helpful with counselling, getting to the unconscious stuff very quickly. And so then I decided to do the certificate course and then I followed it with the diploma course.
Yeah, incredible. And so could you tell us a bit, what is art therapy?
So it's using art in therapy just as a way of communicating non-verbally. We find sometimes people come to counselling but they really can't find the words to talk about what the problem is, or they might not even know what the real problem is. And through doing some art and exploring the art by the therapist asking a lot of questions, we actually start to uncover what's really going on. And then things that might be unconscious become conscious. And then once the client is aware of what's happening, we can then work on that and do some therapy around it.
Incredible. And who then is art therapy for?
So absolutely everyone. A lot of people think, oh, you know, that's just for kids, but it's not. It works wonderfully with kids because kids often either don't want to talk or don't have the words. They just don't have the vocabulary. So it does work very well with kids. It also works for teenagers who often come to therapy and don't have much to say, don't really want to talk about things. But it also works for adults, and my adult clients are often really surprised by how helpful it is when they actually do some artwork and then I ask some questions and they see things that they weren't aware of before.
So you're talking about the client seeing things that they weren't aware of. Does that mean you don't interpret?
No, I don't, because what is projected into the art comes from the client's unconscious. I don't know what's in someone else's unconscious, so I ask questions, and when they start looking at the art and talking about it, it then becomes apparent. So no, as an art therapist I would never interpret because I don't know you know, what's in a drawing. Quite often, you know, people will say, oh, you know, if a person uses like a lot of black, or for example, you might say, oh, this person's really depressed or in a really dark place. But that's not necessarily true. Black might mean that for me, but for someone else it might mean peace and calm and quiet. So I can't interpret.
And what does it take to become an art therapist?
Okay, so there's a few different ways of learning how to be an art therapist. So you can go be a psychologist and then do a major in art therapy. You can be a counsellor and then do some further studying in art therapy. There are some courses where you can actually from the onset do a course where you just do an art therapy course. The way I did it was I had my counselling qualifications first and then I did the diploma in art therapy. So I went through the College for Educational and Clinical Art Therapy, which the director of that course, Rob Gray, he teaches it. It's online and then you do intensive. So at the end of the certificate course there's a 5-day intensive, at the end of the diploma course there's a 3-day intensive, and that's where you're with the other students and you're actually doing like a workshop over that time. But the entire course I did, and what I loved about it is it's an experiential course. So you do it first as a client doing the art, and then you take on the role of the therapist, so that you're exploring the art as well. And that's what I really loved about it, because I learned so much. I learned how a client experiences it.
And I think there are a number of misconceptions about art therapy. I know it's not a huge therapy in Australia. Do you want to run us through what are some of those misconceptions, and are they true?
Yeah, well, the first one is that, it wouldn't work with everyone, and it actually does work with everyone. Another misconception is people, like when I sort of mention art therapy, when they come for counselling, they say, oh, I can't draw, it's not going to work. And you don't need to be able to draw. I'm not an artist myself. So art therapy is not about how you draw, it's not about the aesthetics of the artwork, it's about the content of the artwork and what's projected into it. So it doesn't matter if you draw stick figures and if your drawing looks like a child's drawing, or we also use painting and sculpting and other forms of art, even collage and things like that. So you don't have to be artistic at all.
And is there also a perception that it's a side therapy, or it's not truly a therapy?
No, that's actually not true. It's a therapy in itself. So actually doing art or anything creative is therapeutic, because the process is it's a form of mindfulness. It's while we're focusing on that, we're not really thinking about these other things that might be causing us problems, like people with anxiety and depression often find that having that to focus on, they're not feeling so anxious or feeling so sad. And the other thing is, when we actually then do the art in the therapy and we talk about it, the clients find that not only do they become aware of the actual issues, but they can actually find solutions through the therapy. The other thing I do is I integrate other forms of therapy with art therapy. So some art therapists might just use art therapy, whereas I will integrate maybe cognitive behaviour therapy or solution-focused therapy, mindfulness. So it works well with other therapies as well.
Yeah, it's incredibly holistic.
Yes.
Isn't it?
Yeah.
What has been one highlight of your time as an art therapist?
I think when people have those moments where they suddenly become aware of something they weren't aware of before. Quite often they come to several sessions of therapy and they're not really getting to the bottom of things, and then all of a sudden they realise, this is why I'm doing what I do, or this is why I'm feeling this way. It's that's what I love. And also with the kids, when parents often think, oh, they're just drawing pictures, what's this about, how is this therapy? But then after several sessions, the parents will say, look, I don't know what you're doing, but it's working, because the children are different. If they've had anxiety, they're not as anxious. If they might have some behaviour problems or problems at school, they don't have as many problems. They're just able to cope better.
And because it's a very sort of non-verbal, you let the drawings do the speaking, is it good for people with disabilities?
Absolutely, yes. Particularly people with ASD or ADHD works very well. But yeah, anyone who finds it difficult to speak, or even, yeah, if, as I said, with children who might not have the vocabulary, they can do a drawing or painting, and I'll ask them questions about it, and like, who is this person, or what is this animal, tell me about it. And then they can actually, when they start describing it, because they can see it, they can find some more words to talk about it.
And finally, what would you say to someone who would like to try art therapy but is a bit hesitant?
To definitely try it. Find an art therapist and make an appointment, particularly if you might have tried some other kinds of therapy before and you've just found it's not working. Art therapy might actually help you, get to the bottom of those issues that you're struggling with.
Well, thank you so much, Colleen, for coming in today. I've really enjoyed our chat and I've learnt so much about art therapy. If you or your loved one is interested in finding out more about art therapy or is interested in being put in touch with an art therapist, then please call MyCare and we will help you out. Call Mary on 1300 46 1300 or head to our website mycarechannel.org.au.
Do you sometimes feel you need help, but that finding the right help is just too hard? At MyCare Channel, we'll make it easier. We'll cut through the maze of information and help you make an informed decision about help for yourself or your loved one. We offer free information in English and progressively in 26 other languages. So call us on 1300 46 1300, subscribe to our channel and follow us on our socials. And we'll connect you with the support you need to live well and age well.